Hi Felipe, just a quick one. What's the general atmosphere around the place? These are very difficult times, very uncertain times. We don't know what's going on, but what's the general atmosphere? Have you had to make any extra steps to make sure that everyone's okay mentally as well?
Yeah, well, we are always. It's part of our job to make sure that everyone is good physically, mentally, and technically. You know, and the mental part of it, it's one that we are always looking. In terms of, definitely, it's challenging times. Not only because it's a very how would I put it, a very congested schedule or time of games, you know, with the Interpros and then the European games in December now, after the Interpros again European games, and some of the guys came from a lengthy international like window in October and November, and they're heading into another lengthy international window. So yeah, it's definitely something that it is, you know, challenging mentally, but at the same time, I think we are fortunate because of what we can do. We can still play and be able to play the game we love, and seeing the situation not only in Ireland but around the world, that with the cases adding up and so on. So I think we are fortunate. So we keep on trying to do the best we can and track on and also for the people back home watching us and you know, our supporters.
How is Jordan Larmour, and how close do you think he is to playing a part on Friday night?
Yeah, well, we hope he's close enough. You know, we are expecting him to train, and same with Harry. So it's you know, when they come from injuries, it's always day by day in the last few steps, you know, or the last few days. As we always say, we are not going to put someone that is not ready and ready fitness-wise, technically and mentally to succeed. So that's our premise, you know, to put people in the pitch able to deliver their best. So if we see he's able to do that, he'll definitely be up there for selection. Yeah.
Thanks, best of luck.
Cheers, Nick Corkin, if you have a couple of questions for Felipe.
Yeah, Felipe, just wondering what lessons you've learned, or what are the things you can take out of the game against Connacht last weekend, ahead of what, you know, is a really big match against Ulster this weekend?
Oh, lessons a lot. I think in terms rugby wise, quite a few. You know, I think we've been beaten on the day in nearly every aspect of the game. So definitely we've a lot to learn from that game. We can't stay or too much on what had happened, because we have to move on, and we have a very short turnaround to play what's probably the informed team in Pro 14, and they've been unlucky with Europe, the 2 games in Europe, but they are playing brilliant rugby. So we'll definitely have to take on the lessons we've learned and take them on board and keep trying to improve and get better for the next weekend. You know, we have massive games coming, so we need to make sure that we turn the page quickly and we take on board all what we've learned. As I said, rugby-wise, loads of lessons to learn there.
Is it a different experience for a lot of players, given the fact that you've, you know, been unbeaten for a long period of time? You've now lost a match. I know it's all part of the learning, but it's important that you draw a line in the sand and move on.
Yeah, look, I always said, like, we were going to lose one day, you know. It's you don't go and beat them forever. So one day it was going to happen. For me, like everyone speaks about, it's easier to learn when you lose than when you win. And we've been learning throughout winning strikes and winning periods, you know. So it's now the time for us to learn behind a defeat, you know, and that's that's where the team has to show character and just go and take it on the chin and just learn from it and take the experience that I think for on all these challenging times and so on, there was a lot of young players there, and it will be a massive learning game for not only for those young players but the team the squad as a whole.
Gracias.
Thanks, Mick. Don, Jerry, Joe, a couple of questions for Felipe.
Felipe, Don here. Felipe, there's no back door this season in the Pro 14. Do you think it's a good time to be giving academy players first time caps?
Well, we have here. It's something that it's challenging times in terms of selection, and as I said, we can't be only focused on what's next we need to see also the big picture, and as I said, many of the guys, the international players, that were coming behind at the back of a very hard, or what would you say, a very hard month internationally, straight into Europe. They needed a rest. They weren't back to come, and then you have also some cases. It doesn't mean that we had COVID cases, but close contacts and so on that drag you. There's a lot of unfamiliar situations that they haven't been as normal or as usual as other years, maybe, and we trust the people coming through. It's not that we, as I said, it's not that we just throw in players. It's what we've got. We are training sometimes with very limited numbers of players because of this is what we're tracking with, and that's the beauty of trusting the guys that are coming through, and at one stage they will have to get into that pitch and learn, and yeah, it's as I said, it's much better for them if they play their first cup and win, but it didn't happen, and there's a massive learning for those players, but also for the guys that more experienced that were part of the team, and maybe we have to see why we didn't deliver as we wanted to,
Thanks, Felipe.
Felipe, hi. Jerry here.
Hi, Jerry.
Just wondering, Ulster are the only unbeaten team now in the Pro 14. So how important is it to get a win against them in the RDS on Friday night ahead of the European game?
Well, it's crucial, but more than I would talk more of how important or how crucial it is for us to perform properly. I think that if we perform properly and we perform well, we have better chances to win and than performing poorly. So we need to focus on performance. Definitely, a win is crucial for not only for the Pro 14. We know that it will be only 16 rounds and then a straight final in between the top of each conference, and Ulster are 10 points ahead of us. We have two games in hand, but still they are 10 points. So we are direct competitors for that spot, So it's a massively important game for us. And as you said, then we have two massive games in our calendar that are the Europe games, and we are doing well for the moment, but for the way this year is set up, Europe, you can't afford a slip, So we need to make sure we get a good performance, hopefully a good result, and then head into Europe with confidence and making sure that we perform in those two games to get the results we want in Europe as well.
And how the way I word is, with so many ex-Leinster players playing now in Ulster as well, does it give an extra edge to the game?
There are many ex-Leinster players. Yeah, there are. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
It cut up, sorry, I didn't get the question.
Okay. Does it give an extra edge to the game when when you're facing ex-Leinster players?
Oh yeah.
The opposition.
Yeah, definitely, and it's the same with the Connacht. You know, you have some former Leinster players and academy players and so on, and the same Ulster, and that definitely brings an extra edge. You know, because well, you always want, like, if you were from Leinster, you would like to perform properly or the best performance against your former team, you know. So, and that's the nature of the game, and that's how it is, and we know that, and we need to address it, and we need to know it, and but apart from having former Leinster players or so on, we are talking about probably the informed team in Pro 14. So we know, in my personal view, I really like the way they play. I think they are a really joy to watch, and they've been creating momentum, and they've been building up for great performances. They've been unlucky, I think, in Europe, and they didn't get the results they wanted. But it's not that they underperformed either. You know, they were just on the brink of getting. We could have been talking now that they would be leading that pool with 10 points. So it's a team that definitely it's high in confidence and playing well. So yeah, we need it's as hard as it can get in this competition for us.